Morning and welcome back to another fun-filled episode of Mr. Warren's Digital Classroom. You guys should have just gotten done doing a do now. In your own words, explain what delayed gratification is and give two examples. And yes, I'm sure as many of you have said, isn't this the exit slip we just had yesterday? Absolutely. Guess what? If you already knew the answer, you almost get double the points for it. There you go. That's me and all my generosity. So, a couple things we're going to cover today is we're going to start talking about investment. We're going to talk about different types of investment, ways to invest. And so, before we get into really all the methodology, we have to get some of the vocab down so we can all be on the same page when we have later conversations. Well, at least kind of like one-way conversations. So, first thing we're going to cover today is something called risk. R-I-S-K. Which is the possibility of financial loss. And yes, this is obviously in an economics standpoint. Economics context, excuse me. And so, I thought it should go without saying, but we're going to say it anyways. The higher the risk, higher the return. And then, I guess, slash reward. And then vice versa. The higher the risk, the higher the return. Meaning, if I go gamble, if I go to Vegas, and I take $10,000 and I put it all on red. Spin the wheel, 50-50 shot. If I win, I double my money. If not, I lose it all. So, if I double my money and I bet $1,000, I get $2,000. High risk, high return. If I bet only $2 and I win, well, guess what? Low risk, low return. So the most money I can only make is $4. So, I only gained $2, but hey, I didn't risk my whole paycheck on it. So, possibility of financial loss. Higher the risk, higher the return. So, here's something I'm going to tell you, and I don't care what else anybody tells you. I'll take this, I will defend this all day long. If anybody comes up and says, here is a risk-free system, here's a risk-free way to make money, here's a risk-free way to invest, I will sit there and probably call them a liar directly to their face. Because all investment, no matter what kind of investment, has some possibility of risk, has whether it be low risk, high risk, there's some degree of risk, no matter what. And if someone tells you otherwise, I will call them a liar straight to their face. So, next up, we have a term, portfolio. Portfolio. And if anybody's familiar with this, some people think of like artists, like an artist portfolio where they have all their work. Well, it's kind of like that, except we're talking about investments. We're talking about economics. So a portfolio is a collection of investments and assets held by a person or organization. So, a collection of investments or assets held by a person or an organization. The reason they call it a portfolio is because, hang on. Way back in the day, before computers, before all this digital fun stuff, we used to actually have paper copies of everything, paper portfolios. So, where we used to keep a list of everything we invested in, everything that we have, all of our assets. So, for example, if I went off and I bought some stocks, or I bought some bonds, or some other type of investment, in this portfolio, I would keep proof of that. Oh, it says Mr. Warren has 2 stocks on this. Here's another paper that says, oh, Mr. Warren has 2 bonds, and he has, et cetera, et cetera. I also keep my assets in this portfolio. So we Go back to assets, think of like my car, for example. So in this portfolio, I might keep a copy of my car title or an appraisal that says how much this car is worth. Once again, it's a collection of all my investments and assets. And now it's all digital. So nowadays it's just a digital copy of this, just a digital copy of all those all the proof of everything that I have, everything that I own when it comes to investments and assets. It's just a collection, just a big old stack or digital stack of everything I've invested in, everything I have money in. That's all it is. So, risk portfolio. The reason we're covering these is because from now on, you see it on TV commercials when they talk about investing, you hear it on the news, they talk about portfolios, risk management, all these things. I'm trying to get you more well-versed in this vocab. So when you hear it next time on TV in a commercial or an ad or something, you actually know what they're talking about. You actually know and can be a part of the conversation. Next up, very important term when it comes to investing. It's called diversification. Diversification. D-I-V-E-R-S-I-F-I-C-A-T-I-O-N. Diversification is having a large variety of investments and assets. Or if anybody's ever heard the phrase, don't put all your eggs terrible G in one basket. So, having a large variety of investments and assets. So what I mean by this is I don't take all my money I want to invest and I invest it in just one thing. I don't take all my money invested in stocks from Nike. Or I don't take all my money invested in just these bonds, or I invested in Walmart. So the purpose behind diversification is to say I take all my money, I invest it in Nike. Well, what happens if tomorrow morning Nike goes bankrupt or Nike loses a lot of money? So then all the money I just invested is gone. I lose it all because Nike, something happened to Nike. However, if I diversify, so let's say if I have $1,000, I put $100 in Nike, I put $100 in Walmart, I put $100 in this oil company or whatever. I spread it out. So if tomorrow, once again, Nike goes bankrupt and goes out of business, I've only lost $100. I haven't lost my entire sum of money. So that is the whole point of it. When people diversify, they put a little in each pot so that at the end of the day, hey, if this one's losing money, chances are this one over here is making money. And so they balance each other out. It's a way of essentially protecting my money, protecting my investments, and making sure that, hey, I don't lose everything. All right, next up. Next two terms, these are actual types of investments. We're going to start off at the smallest one and the simplest one, and we're going to move up to the more complicated ones. So the first one we're going to cover is called a money market account. A money market account. There we go. And so definition is slightly lengthy, so just kind of bear with me. An interest-bearing